Hi everyone and welcome back. Okay, another drawing demo for you. That's the scene that I'm going to be doing. It's just a photo I've got on my iPad there. I actually kind of screenshot it from my laptop, so it's not a brilliant photo, but that's basically what I'm going to be doing today. Okay, and for that I used Daily Rowney Bristol board, A4 pad. The pencils I used were a 7H, a 4H, an HB, a 2H, another HB pencil, just two different lead diameters there, one for fine detail, one is more suited to shading, a 2B pencil, 4B pencil, and the Tombow Mono eraser and the Kohinoor eraser, and I used a little bit of blue tack as a kneadable eraser. For blending I used several blending stumps and cotton swabs and cotton balls. Staedtler Mars eraser. I used quite a bit of kit actually on this one, considering it's quite a simple drawing for beginners. I used a set square as well, and of course the dust brush to get rid of any eraser crumbs. And that was basically it. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting out with an HB pencil for the basic line drawing. You'll probably notice there that I've not got a full grid over the paper. I've only got two vertical columns there, and that's all I'll need really, just to get the position of the boat in place and the proportions right. The horizon line has been drawn in as well, and that's all the start I'll need, just to get this boat drawn in. So we'll get the shameless plugs out of the way first. This is the edited version of this drawing. There'll be 6 other videos, I think there are, to accompany this over on my Patreon channel. So if you're interested in the full lesson, there'll be a link in the description below and a link on the end cards at the end of the video for you to go and check that out on Patreon if you want to. I think there's over 100 videos there for you now, so for just $4 a month or $1 a month depending which option you take, but for $4 a month you'll get access to over 100 videos, drawing projects every month, tips and techniques videos, watercolour videos, all sorts of good stuff. And you don't have to commit yourself to it. You can just cancel your membership at any time, if you find it's not for you. Okay, so onto the drawing now then. As you can see, I'm using a set square there to help me get the straight lines for the masts and the sails. Now this drawing, I've kind of aimed this at beginners and intermediates. Although the boat or the ship, whatever you want to call it, is fairly complicated in places, it's not quite as hard as what you might think. It's the only area in the drawing which you've got to concentrate on really, because the sky and the water is very, very easy. So obviously the main focal point here is the boat, and that's where all the detail, most of the hard work is. Now if you're working with the grid method, you shouldn't have any problems with this really, because we're going to be using the grid to help us get the shape, the proportions and everything in the right place. And once we've got that outline there, then we can start to work on the tones and build up the detail and the textures and everything like that. And as always, there'll be a reference photo on Patreon. In fact, there's 2 reference photos. I've started to post 2 now for every drawing, one with a grid already in place, so you've not got to bother putting one on yourself, and another one where it's just a picture on its own, so you can use that to trace or copy or do whatever you want with. And like I say, they're all over on Patreon as well. Now I'm using the blending stump just to drop the sky in. It's looking quite messy at the minute, so I'm trying to blend it and smooth it out as best as I can. Not particularly easy to do this on Daily Rowney Bristol board, but with lots of effort and blending I managed to do it. So if you are going to do this one at home, I would recommend just a general drawing paper, just an average sort of cartridge paper with a little bit of texture. That'll be fine. I must admit I did struggle a little bit with the smooth surface of the Bristol board there. The graphite went on it quite patchy. And then once I blended it all in, I used a 2H pencil just to start adding a few darker cloud shapes in there, and then going over again with the blender just to soften them out and smooth them back a little bit. That wasn't a problem, that was quite easy. The graphite lays down really well on the Bristol board. It was just the graphite powder that I had a little bit of trouble with there. And again, like I say, this one's for beginners really, so I'm keeping it fairly simple. I'm not going for the big dramatic sky or anything like that. I just want a very simple but fairly interesting and natural looking sky, just as a backdrop for the boat, that's all. So now the sky's finished, I'm starting to work on the boat, and there's a few figures there sort of silhouetted a little bit just on top of the boat, just using an HB pencil for that, and a few of the darker shapes that I can see on the boat there. Not too sure what some of those shapes are, it doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of thinking sort of abstract shapes and forms, and not really trying to second guess what they are or anything like that. Even when I zoom in on the reference photo on my computer, I can't really tell what they are too well, so I just look at them as abstract shapes and just draw them in that way. It's a case of draw what you see, not what you think you see. Now this part of the boat that I'm drawing in now with the 2B pencil, this is probably the trickiest part. There's quite a lot of decoration there on the back of this boat, and it had to be kept, you know, fairly symmetrical. I kind of messed it up a little bit. I did correct it later on though, make it look more symmetrical. But apart from that, everything else is plain sailing, if you'll pardon the pun. You know, it's just that bit there which is quite tricky, that sort of elaborate decoration on the back of the boat. So now with a 2H pencil, I'm just shading over all of the windows, just a very light shading, trying not to, you know, get anything darker than the window frames themselves. And that's the boat pretty much done. I will go back and tweak it a little bit, just here and there, just refine it just in certain areas. But now I want to start to work on the water, and I'm using a 4H pencil for that. It's a little bit light really, but I'm varying the pressure, and I'm layering as well, so if it looks too light at this stage it doesn't really matter, because I'm going to go over it again with an HB pencil and a 2H pencil, and you know, just increase the tones and the texture a little bit as I go. Just laying down a general flat tone there in the foreground and blending it over just to get rid of the white of the paper. Some of the background there has got a little bit of texture in it. You can see just a little bit of choppiness of some of the waves, not too much. You know, I've not gone overboard there with the detail. Another nautical joke there. That's another thing, I don't know any nautical terminology or boat language at all, so if you do go over onto Patreon for the videos of this, I'll be referring to it as the back of the boat, the side of the boat, the top of the boat, all that kind of stuff. I don't know, you know, which is the starboard bow and all that kind of stuff. I'll leave that for you to worry about, so I'm just using very simple terms with this. So now I'm using the HB pencil to start putting the reflections in around the boat, trying to get the direction of the way the water's moving, you know, as the boat's leaving that wake behind it. I'm keeping the pencil strokes very horizontal as well, and sort of leaving little gaps in between them, you know, showing the lighter areas of the paper there. It's not too tricky really, it's just a case of, you know, observing what you see in the reference photo and just generally trying to get those shapes in, you know, and replicate them as best as you can. As long as you keep your pencil strokes horizontal, you know, you'll keep to the correct perspective and it should look okay. Even if you've not got the shape, you know, exactly right there, doesn't really matter. You know, it'll still look like the back of the boat, you know, reflecting in the water. I keep varying the lead grades here as well. I'm using an HB and a 2B for the most part. Both mechanical pencils, but then I do actually change to a wood case pencil with a slightly wider lead in it than a 0.5 mechanical pencil lead. That's just to get a little bit of more of a shading technique going in some of the lighter areas of the water. The Pentel leads are actually a lot darker than your standard wood case pencils, so I'm able to get, you know, a lot darker tonal values with them than just using, you know, regular pencils. You can also get a lot finer detail as well because of the 0.5mm lead thickness in them. So I'm just using the HB pencil now, the wood case pencil, pressing very, very lightly. I mean, you can see it's not really an HB tone that I'm laying down there, and that's because I'm pressing so lightly, just barely grazing the paper, just to get just a little bit of texture, just to kind of represent a little bit of choppiness, you know, on the surface of the water. And I'm using exactly the same technique on the other side. It's quite bland actually, you know, the left side of this picture, and there is a little bit of light just sort of coming in, you know, on the left hand side there. Didn't know whether to really go for it and highlight that area or just leave it fairly bland, but always in the back of my mind, you know, I want to keep this fairly simple for the beginners out there, and mainly concentrate all the detail and the effort, you know, on the boat and the reflections, because obviously, you know, that's the main focal point. So once I'd finished with the sea, I kept it fairly simple. I decided just to add a few birds in the sky, just to add a little bit of interest, you know, to the left hand side of the picture. And then once I've done that, that's it, the picture's finished. So I hope you like that, and it'd be great to see you over on Patreon. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.